and I think this would be a good transition. You want to talk to Thor: Love and Thunder right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So like I so getting to the Prom Phase 4 and the character development, I would say, was Thor: Love and Thunder your most anticipated films of 2022?
Uh, let's see what else is coming.
Black Panther, uh, Black Adam,
Uh,
the League of Super Pets.
maybe for superhero movies, it was my most anticipated.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, my number one was Batman. So
yeah,
yeah.
I think that'll end up being my favorite one of 2022. But
Oh yes, definitely.
we'll see. Maybe Black Panther will be better than I'm expecting it to be.
Yeah. Oh, I can trust Ryan Coogler now.
I
mean,
it's not him that I'm worried about. It's just like
yeah,
Boseman's death really threw them for a loop, and I don't know if they're going to be able to stick the landing.
Yeah, I can see why. I could trust him. Like,
yeah, I'm sure it'll be watchable.
Yeah,
I just don't know if it's going to like hit the highs of the first movie. But
no, I don't.
Yeah,
think
I feel like it's going to feel awkward. Like there's gonna be a very clear Chadwick Boseman shaped hole in the movie.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. And I hope we get something from Comic-Con this week.
Yeah, that's Saturday, right?
Yes. So I was gonna say this, but I can tell now that I think our next podcast will just be discussing the Marvel news and Comic-Con, and discuss our favorites and what we're kind of hoping Comic-Con should reveal.
Mm-hmm.
So because we know that Marvel is coming back in San Diego Comic-Con, which is great, and the last movie we have for MCU is Black Panther. So let's get into general thoughts. What you thought about Thor: Love and Thunder? Will do you liked it? You didn't like it? Where you stand so far with this film?
It was pretty middling. It was fun, like like I left the theater and I was like, that was a good time, but I don't think it was a good movie.
Oh no! Oh god!
There were a lot of problems. There was a lot of stuff that I liked too, but there were a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I would probably put it at like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
But like a low 6.
Whoa. I don't think it's that low after 6. I think it's 6 out of 10. I appreciate what they were trying to do. I feel like they went too far in this one direction that I think will completely divide people and will bring their pitchforks and hurt people. I will say this is, I think, the most hard. Will give you the argument of the MCU humor and
God, yeah, God, the humor was too much and not great.
Yeah, I guess I just feel like the humor was just. I will say it. I don't know. Like I didn't. So the jokes landed for me. It was just like the
a lot of. Yeah, sorry.
No. Like I very quickly the comedy sketch stuff. I didn't care. Really, I didn't like that. My big issue is not the humor. My biggest problem is the underdevelopment of certain characters. That was my biggest problem, and I was very disappointed not to see Valkyrie being more developed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like quite concerned where Thor is at now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just wish we just focus on more character development than just jokes. I
Yeah.
feel like,
Which, like, in Taika's other movies, he's so good at that. And then this
yeah,
one, just,
just it
I don't
just went.
know.
You think
Yeah.
it went into Batman and Robin level? Like people are
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. I don't know. It just felt like he, like, got too confident.
Mm,
Like, I don't know. He felt like too comfortable making jokes of things.
yeah,
Um, and I don't know. Uh,
I I
I
got
don't
you.
like. I don't know. A lot of the humor didn't work for me, and like, it's not that I didn't think the movie was funny. Like, a lot of the jokes did land, but I would say like about 50% of them were just kind of like,
Yeah, like
yeah,
there
just like too much.
too much. Oh my god.
Um,
Yeah,
uh,
I
and yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with like characters not being developed enough.
yeah I
Like this movie was like what 2 hours long, but apparently they had like 4 hours of.
but look at 4
They had a
hour.
4 hour cut, and like
I
I feel like a lot of important stuff got cut that probably shouldn't have been cut.
yeah
Um, yeah.
yeah I yeah. So like so I I think I say last week that I enjoyed this more than Doctor Strange 2
I
because it's
did
like
too.
yeah, and I want to say right now I want to take it back because I actually like Doctor Strange 2 more than this film.
Okay, I
Uh,
do not.
yeah, so we can disagree and agree,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's fine. I'm fine with that. Because strangely, you know why I love Shang-Chi is because I actually right away when they dropped to Disney Plus, I actually saw that,
Hmm.
and that's why I put it at my number one in 2021. I actually did this with Doctor Strange when it was gonna drop in Disney Plus in June,
Hmm.
right? I actually did it the date when it actually did, and I actually enjoyed it more this time around because I you know you knew what you saw after your first viewing. I like conned my expectation and I enjoyed it more. And this one, I just didn't want to see this film ever again. Like I don't know. I was so disappointed. Like I love Thor Ragnarok. I knew it was never gonna top it.
Hmm.
Like how can you? I I mean Taika Waititi is a great director. I see his films and
Yeah, he was my favorite director, and then this
yeah,
movie just kind of sucked.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't know if it was just like okay, like I get he's the definitely the two biggest run in Thor comics. You know, the Mighty Thor, the God Butcher, the Thor God of Thunder storyline.
mhm.
But it seems like there was other things that Marvel told him they want to have, maybe oh we want to introduce Hercules, so we need to have Zeus here. Oh, like we
Yeah.
need to like the Guardians thing, like we need to deal with that because that was like the thing people liked the most,
Hmm.
and it was like they have so many these ideas, and then on top of that, Taika Waititi trying to like really want to put his personality in the film,
Hmm.
which is fine, but I feel like he just went to the Shane Black of the third thing. Like I'm gonna cram all your notes into this one movie, and like he just f it. Like I'm gonna put everything in this film, and like just why? It's
Yeah.
just, it was just a manic, just like
Yeah. It was very messy.
yeah, and
Um,
the go ahead. I it's just
yeah.
like
I don't know. It's like it just felt really weird, like what they decided to develop and what they didn't.
Yes.
And there's like weird choices. Like I don't. There was a lot of stuff that like it felt obvious that like if you set this up, the audience is going to want to see this, and then they just didn't do that. Like
Yeah.
like Jane, they like go through the whole thing of like Mjolnir like kind of like making like a magical pact to protect her, and then she's like getting sick and she's like figuring out that the hammer might be able to help her.
Yeah.
And then she like goes to New Asgard, and then are we gonna see her become Thor? Nope.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay, that's a weird thing to omit.
Yeah.
Because like I mean, obviously, like the viewers know what's about to happen. Like even ignoring like trailers and posters and stuff, like the story is telling you that that's about to happen, so you know to expect that, and you would want the scene of like it happening.
Right.
But nope, it's off screen.
Yeah.
And then in a movie with a character called Gorr the God Butcher, they
Oh my
introduced
God.
the concept of a city filled with gods who are super like arrogant and confident that they're safe. You'd
Yeah.
think that would be the prime opportunity for some god butchering.
Yes.
Because you introduce the gods as like jerks, so you'd be like, yeah, like if they got butchered, you'd be like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
like this is like not super traumatic, but still kind of like scary.
Yeah.
But nope, Gorr never even goes anywhere near the city of gods. He just kind of hangs out in the shadows.
Yeah. He was like, he's actually the shadow in this movie, weirdly.
Yeah.
Well, and he has a different, like, he has another interesting villain plot that easily could have been the one that we should be following,
Mhm.
because he has the thing with the kids, and like we don't know that he's tricking Thor to give him the Stormbreaker,
Right.
and like,
which, yeah, God, that storyline didn't make sense. Because like his whole thing is that gods like don't actually care about their worshippers, right? And then
yeah,
he kidnaps some of Thor's worshippers because he knows he's going to care, and he'll go after them. It just seems like kind of antithetical to your whole deal.
Yeah, I just like, well,
yeah,
I have a lot of questions about his sword, like the
necro sword.
Yeah, and like, is it like the Venom symbiote where it's like self-aware and like it's a living organism? Like,
I think kind of. Like it definitely corrupts him.
Yes, like I know that, but like,
yeah,
how do you get to this plot where, oh, let me go into the eternity?
Yeah, the sword does seem to like whisper to him.
Okay, well, and we saw that in the first scene. We see Gorr,
right,
and the opening.
Yeah, man, that opening. Yeah. Gorr was, just to like get to a positive. Gorr was fantastic.
Yes,
like I would have loved to have seen him do a little more god butchering, but
yeah,
Christian Bale's performance was great, and I thought like, I mean, the performance really like elevated something that was probably like pretty good to something that was like phenomenal. But yeah, very interesting villain. Yeah, I wish we could have seen more of him.
Yeah, I truly agree. This was one of my exciting part of the film was seeing Christian Bale. Of course, you and I we grew up with the Dark Knight trilogy and Bale being Batman, and I was so excited to see him being a Marvel movie, and just seeing what Taika and him have in store with this villain. And I was 100% completely on board with this character. Yes, I want to see more of that, but I think Bale. I think one of the things I like about this film is that this is the good example of how to do a villain by letting your actor perform. And this is a good example of that. Like Bale kill it 100%. Like just bringing Gorr to life and not do this like genetic thing. Like he had pathos and just personality, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, his villain plot is over the place and all that, but I think I still understood what Gorr is doing, and that wasn't inconsistent. It was consistent, and I think that was the thing that made me like this film more.
Yeah.
Uh, I and I mean that scene of him pleading to Thor and to to protect his love, his child. It was so powerful and just like, oh my god, it's just one of the best MCU villain performance I seen.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. I have nothing positive to say about Gorr the Butcher. I think he's amazing, and someone mentioned in the video, podcaster that I follow, he mentioned that all the Thor films. I will say the positive thing about this film. I really appreciate the Thor films now. Like, thank goodness we talked about these films the last 2 years. Will
Mm-hmm.
I actually appreciate we do focus Thor as the hero. This is something that superhero films have a problem sometimes. They will always sometimes lean into the villain side sometimes, and I appreciate that the four Thor films, no matter the problem we have with it, of the character development with Thor, like in the Thor: The Dark World, or the Avengers films. Like, let's separate the Avengers films, but I think I appreciate that these films focus so much on Thor, because these films don't even focus on the villains. Like, they barely have if you want to go into Thor Ragnarok, right? Like, you brought up, like I like Hela, but like she doesn't have enough scenes, and like hasn't that character development. But like, I still remember her because of Kate Blanchett performance, and just it's so well done, and I can forgive that. Same thing here. Like, Gorr doesn't have enough development, but it just Bale performance just hits me like just in my seat, and just wow.
Yeah.
And I think this one of the things I think the Thor films do so well compared to some other superhero film franchise, I would say.
Yeah, with the exception of Thor: The Dark World.
Yes. Let me say that right. So I'm not saying. Yeah.
Although I guess that one had Loki. They did Loki well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's kind of keep this to positive. Let's get into Jane Foster. I know, I would say I was intrigued when she was coming back. I was like, okay, what they're gonna do with her, and then the whole Mighty Thor storyline. I will say this is Natalie Portman's best performance of this character. I really think the chemistry between her and Thor is way better here than the second film.
Yes.
Okay.
I definitely agree.
I was very shocked, or I was very happy how they handled the cancer and storyline. They went where they could, and I think it was acceptable, and they didn't make a joke about it, so I was happy.
Yeah. So I'm glad that of all the things that they kept making jokes about, they didn't turn that into a joke. So
yeah, I mean, especially me in my situation, I was like, I think they did a really good job. I love the scene of her explain the quantitative thing, and saying that, oh, it's been done with Interstellar. Like, that was so funny. I was just laughing out loud, and I was happy to see Dorsey and Salvik.
Yeah, me too. Like, they weren't in it that much, but it felt like a natural way to include them, and I was glad that they brought them back since they were absent from Ragnarok.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, and I want to go back to your complaint about how we got Natalie Jane getting the hammer. the hammer was giving clues to her. I want to say this. She was
Yeah.
giving.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't complaining about
Okay.
the hammer. I was complaining that they just completely skipped over the scene where she gets the hammer.
Yeah.
That was my only complaint about that.
And apparently it was shot. I don't know why.
Right? Yeah, that feels like one of the scenes that they cut for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, I at least I like it because I like to give Thor to see it. Like we're still keeping on Thor's perspective. Like I at least I give them that. Like they're somewhat thinking in the story narrative. I guess. But yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed Jane this film a whole lot. I really like her journey and that like the final scene when Thor say like I'm gonna go to my love and spend my time with her and instead of stopping Gorr like that scene was my favorite and I don't know if you like this gag but I did like the running gag of the cat phrase. I really enjoyed that.
I didn't.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, okay. I just thought Natalie Portman felt very awkward when she was delivering those lines.
Yeah.
It didn't feel natural. But I did like the last time, like the payoff.
Okay.
I thought that was delivered well, and that one landed for me, which is good because that's like the most important one of those.
Yeah, I agree.
But no, the first couple, it just felt very awkward. And it just didn't seem to really like fit with Jane's character. Like we haven't seen her
for a long time, 8
joke.
years.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen her like joke too much.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It felt like, oh, she's a superhero now. She has to be quippy.
Yeah, that's true.
But I did like the final one. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think she killed it, and I'm very happy she came back. And
I should say, like, other than those lines specifically, I really liked her performance in the movie.
Yeah. Oh my god, the love montage, the romantic years montage.
Oh man, that did such a better job of establishing their relationship than the first two Thor movies did.
I know, and it's actually one of my like the most funniest scenes in the whole film. Like Thor and her like skating with the hammer. It was I was losing it. I was like, oh,
no, I really love that. Yeah.
Oh my god, I just love that, and this is where Taika did so well, and I think I think still Taika Waititi is still a great director. This film does not tell me he losed it. He actually did a good job of opening the film with Gorr. I think he was on point.
That seems so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and those two elements were the best parts about the film. The stuff with like Meek or the rock creature, whatever the name, Korg, and you know the new Asgard stuff, I just did not care for. And that's one of my biggest complaints about this film. It's just the kids and all that. Like I don't mind the kids getting the powers or towards the end, but like all that I don't care.
I want to talk about the kids getting the powers.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead with that.
I didn't mind it, but like it did feel weird that the third act kind of just turned into a Kingdom Hearts game. Like I don't know how familiar you are with Kingdom Hearts.
I seen Tommy's live streams, and so I know what you're talking about. I know.
Yeah, but like older guy like whispers something to his weapon, gives it to a bunch of kids, and then they go fight with glowing like key-shaped objects and fight shadow beasts. To like get to like stop a door opening that's like made out of light. It just really felt like the third act turned into a Kingdom Hearts like finale.
I see what you're saying. Yes, I know what you're talking about. I see those.
Yeah, it just it just felt like kind of out of place, and it like took me out of it. But
Hmm.
it was like, I don't know, I liked it. I mean, I just really liked seeing Thor like with kids. I thought that was cute every time.
Yeah.
So
Um, I don't have a problem where I appreciate that Thor is a hero and like
yeah,
he's like I'm seeing people saying Thor is dumb, and it's like,
he
well,
is dumb now.
I
They did make him dumb.
okay, well, I I disagree. He he's just not like he's not good at playing plans, but like he doesn't do like like I don't think he's kind of reverted back to his first Thor
Right,
characteristic.
which I hate.
Yeah, and that's
Like
where
and like in the first one, it just felt more like he was arrogant and like kind of hasty.
yeah,
Whereas now he's more like he's like relaxed a bit, but he's still dumb,
yeah, um,
and that's frustrating because they really, you know, in the first few movies, it feels like if he like figures his stuff out and he can like be a little more like cool headed, then he'll be
yeah,
a little like wiser and smarter.
yeah,
And now we have him being more like even tempered, but he's still really
yeah,
slow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's like he is like head smart, but not like he's not like he's head smart, but just not at that
He's
moment. He's not at
more
that
like
moment.
emotionally intelligent now.
Yeah, exactly.
But
That's what I'm saying. Emotion.
yeah,
That's perfect. Emotional intelligence, and that's what he's doing with the kids. He's just trying to calm them down.
right.
And just, yeah,
Yeah, which I do appreciate, but I want him to be like intelligent too.
yeah,
Not like a genius, just like not dumb.
yeah. Um, I will say it's really tough to do to do this with this character who looks like he looks like a pro, like a pro jock, and
Yeah,
I
but
just
you
I
can just have him not like be confused by simple things or
yeah,
not like oblivious to stuff.
yeah. I they always seem inconsistent with that. Like
Yeah.
he's from like 1,000 years old, and then like he knows like because like ever since that first film, it's very dated because like we added so much on the MCU,
Mm-hmm.
like oh, cosmic stuff which we didn't see. Like he knew Groot's language in Infinity War, and
Right.
then this film we discover he modeled himself from Zeus. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the of course the gods, like it's like ooh, like I mean it's like it's just crazy. Like 13 years later, it's like we got to this point. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
most comic book thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say another positive. I like the visuals. I This is the most comic book like looking film, and I really enjoyed that. I was
Mm-hmm.
so happy. Like seeing the Celestials like looking like Jack Kirby again. I
Yeah.
really like that.
Yeah.
Like oh my god, that scene. And then I know people don't like the dumpling creature. I like it. It
Oh,
was
I
fun.
loved that. That was
Yeah,
funny. It was just like a throwaway gag. It's fine.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know why people was complaining about that. I thought it was funny and
I thought it
just
was funny too.
yeah. I love to see a dragon, like a golden dragon. I just love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just and a good way to set up like either we get that like Shang-Chi connected thing, like it's right there, like we're already seeing dragons, like that. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. So I guess let's get into like character developments. We discussed Jane and Thor now. We discussed Thor a little bit. Let's get into Valkyrie. I guess let me get into that. Um, I still like Tessa Thompson. She's still amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and I like everything they were like presenting in the film. I just went forward with her development, and
Yeah.
I didn't like that she got silent and towards the end, and
Mm-hmm.
but I understood why. It's like you need Thor and Jane's moment so it makes sense. But I was very disappointed on how they did with Valkyrie. I still like that. Taika Waititi likes this character, loves this character, but
Right.
I feel like this was just a step down.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Like I would have liked to have learned more about the character.
Yeah,
they talked about things about her backstory,
yeah.
and like where she's at emotionally, but
Mhm.
I would have liked them to spend more time on that and kind of explore her more.
Yeah. Yeah, the core like was funny when core was talking to her on the boat
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
oh
That's
yeah.
my favorite like kind of joke that Taika Waititi does, where he'll just have a character like blatantly explain everything that another character is feeling
Yes.
to the point where like it's like clearly absurd. But
Yeah.
that's that always gets me.
Oh my god. Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, and then you mentioned cuts throughout this podcast. I will mention it was weird. I get I guess they cut the LGBT storyline that they say like 3 years ago in the 2019 Comic Con, and it's kind of interesting they cut that out. But then I'm kind of like,
they did mention it, but
yeah,
it does feel like there was like a more fleshed out version of that in an earlier cut of the movie, which would have been good.
yeah, I man, like I you can easily like make a good cut with the elements you have.
Right.
Like I mean, X-Men Days of Future Past has the road cut, but if you remove the road cut, it you have the pieces that makes that film great. I don't know why that they like I feel my problem is like I don't know what was the end game. Like I don't understand what Marvel Studios are trying to do with these like 2022 films. That's like cutting out these important things that is important to your story and character development. And it's
Right.
like, I just don't
Too many
understand.
things keep happening off screen.
Yeah, and the worst in these films, like at least Black Widow, I understood what was going on and like they at least properly fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Shang-Chi. Same thing with The Eternals. Same thing with Spider-Man No Way Home. And then here, these two movies, Doctor Strange 2 and then this, is like,
Yeah.
it's just...
It's like they're like key character moments. They can't happen off screen.
Yeah.
Like it's just like really bad storytelling.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's really frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, this is why, like, I hoping they don't do that with Black Panther. Because...
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to, though, because they can't do T'Challa's death, you know?
Yeah. Well...
yeah.
I mean, it's... That could be an easy way to write in your story. I feel like... I think that is fine. I'm saying more like the other characters that I like, that I want to see develop. And like, they're introducing the Atlantans, which... Like it hasn't been confirmed, but like I mean it's kind of obvious if you've seen the leaks and all that. But like I'm more concerned about that. Like I think the Boltzmann thing, I think they know what they're doing with that. It's just the other parts. It's where I'm more concerned about.
Yeah.
The more expansion universe of the MCU. It's where I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and then getting into I would say I dislike Korg now. I don't want Korg anymore.
Yeah, there's too much of him in this movie.
Yeah.
I think he would have been better if he'd stayed in New Asgard and he was just like a bit character.
Yeah. Like, where's Meek? Like, Meek should be there. Like,
Meek was there a little bit.
Yeah, but like, why did he tag along with Korg? I thought they were buddies.
I think Korg should have just been with Meek the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the same amount of screen time as Meek.
Yeah. I was like,
yeah,
this almost like I was quite concerned. Like when presumably you knew Korg was gonna die from that lightning, and then
Yeah.
they do this like pull the rug, like, oh no, he's alive. I was like, really? Like, it
Yeah.
was,
Ugh.
oh my god. I was like, wow, we're doing that. I was like, okay. So yeah, yeah, very disappointing. Like, I like Korg from the third film, but then this, it was just like, I don't know, just
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? So, I we haven't brought up the other character besides. I mean, we have one big star here, Russell Crowe, Zeus, and what's your opinion on that? I love it. It was so
Oh,
funny.
I didn't.
Oh, really? Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I
Okay.
just, his accent was really over the top,
Mm-hmm.
and like,
Yeah.
I don't know, making the character like a joke felt weird because like
Yeah.
it's Zeus, you know.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I don't know. And then I just don't understand. Like, is Omnipotent City from the comics, or
Yes.
okay?
It's
I'd
from the
never
comics.
heard of that before, and I was just
Okay.
surprised that they weren't in Olympus.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. So this is from. This is actually part from the God Butcher storyline.
Okay. Did he butcher gods in the city in the comics? Because that.
No, it's
Huh.
it's weird. It's completely different storyline from
Yeah.
the comic book. It's Thor goes to Innovative City to, you know, like in the first Lord of the Rings when Gandalf goes to the library.
Rivendell.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. It's like that. Thor goes to there. He goes to this like ancient library of sorts in Innovative City to search for the like the old gods, or like the gods that are hidden and all that, like left, to see who's going to be the next target for Gorr. That was the purpose of that city. Here they did differently. They did this more like new gods, like, you know, like the new gods from Jack Kirby from the DC. It's like that in this movie than what it is from the comics. It's just weird. Yeah. So yeah, it's from the comics, but they totally like turned it into something different.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the Zeus. I mean, I did laugh at when he like did the pull of the skirt and then walked out. It was so funny. And I mean, yeah, the his like accent was weird. I know he was saying he was trying to do that Greek,
like a Greek accent. Yeah,
Yeah.
it felt like he was doing an accent.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, still, when he talks to Thor about like, oh, we're safe, and like, the thing.
Yeah,
like,
it just really felt like they were like tempting Gorr with that, and then nothing came of it.
Yeah.
I just felt like a weird
detour.
like writing choice to make it, to just make them seem like super arrogant and like overly confident that they're safe, and then to have like a character who is named the God Butcher.
Yeah.
Just not to connect those dots at all.
I no, I understand. I like the scene. This is my favorite part of the film because it supports Gorr's motivation and his argument. Like the execution of this is not good, but like it supports his point of view of the gods being greedy and very jerks and selfish, and this whole scene sounds like that. But I just wish it was more part of the conversation afterwards.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's a lot of this movie that I think like the ideas were good, but the execution wasn't.
Yeah,
which is how I felt about Doctor Strange too.
Yeah. I don't want to talk too much about that film. I will say, I I oh man, it's real tough. I think the film there was more focused, but I disagree with the creative decisions. This movie is completely unfocused all over the place, but a focus on his main character, which I do disagree with its creative decisions. That's how I feel right now. Just, it's like what's that test? Like pension test. Like you hit the four contract. Like it's like up and down, up and down. It's just literally like that. This film. It's like it's oh my god. It's like a bipolar experience. It's like you cannot say one precision. Like it's just oh my god. It's so hectic. It's like crazy. I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah, and I want to get into. I mean, I will say I was happy that Zeus didn't die, and
the post credit scenes were great.
Yeah, that one was great, and I like where we're gonna go with Thor 5.
Right.
Whatever we go there.
I hope we go there.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go there. I mean, Hercules is like the last Avenger member we have to introduce, you know, because we already introduced like Black Knight, Cersei, Monica, White Vision, and Vision, but the White Vision, other, yada yada yada, and then Hercules, and so yeah, I'm pretty excited. Yeah,
we got Brett Goldstein.
Yes, from Ted Lasso, right?
Yeah.
I say my my friend I went to, like, she streamed because she's seen Ted Lasso, so she was very excited.
I was very excited.
Okay, and he looks like Hercules. I was
he is.
So I'm very excited for that, and that's going to be the greatest superhero battles we're going to see in film. So I'm so excited for that. But yeah, and we can get into the mid credit scene, or the post credit scene of Jane going to Van Halla, right?
Yeah.
And then to meet, I like it. It was sweet to see her and Minnie Handel again. I was surprised to see Ava coming back. Good scene. I don't know if they're like setting up, her coming back, but like I think it was a good touchy scene.
Yeah. It did feel like they were setting up those characters coming back, which did kind of feel like it cheapened the movie. But if they're not doing that, and that's the last time we see those characters, I think that was a very sweet, like, farewell to them.
Yeah. I mean, Marvel is famous to do that. I mean, like, how many times Loki died, and it's like, oh, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And we have another version that's out there. So, I mean, it's crazy. What else we haven't discussed? I think we cover everything.
Yeah, I guess my favorite scene we haven't talked about yet.
Oh, yes.
Which was the scene in the I don't know what they called it. The Shadow World, or the Shadow Realm, or whatever, where everything's in black and white, and they're on like the tiny planetoid. I thought that was great. I thought it looked great. There's a lot of fun, like, tension happening.
Yes.
Gorr was being really creepy.
Yeah.
It was just a great sequence.
Yeah, same here. This was my favorite, and this is where I think Gorr was really shine in the film, is this scene, and just see him like being creepy and just also hearing like his loss and then tormenting Thor to get Stormbreaker back to the Shadow Realm so he can use it. like all that was just wonderful, and Jane seeing that it was a trap. I love that, and it's just like it was just so intense. I just love it.
Yeah.
One thing I do question, I wasn't thinking about this. I saw this like a chat for
Mhm.
another YouTube. Stormbreaker. Like, how could Gore carry it if like does it?
Well, I don't know if Stormbreaker has the same enchantment as Mjolnir.
Okay, that's a good point. Like, yeah, because the hammer, the first has the enchantment from Owen. So yeah, but, okay, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not used to like seeing like that.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, because that was one I was like, huh, how he's carrying this, and but makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to say two other nitpicks. Let's get into other nitpicks. The Guardians. I want to say that I mean I think we kind of knew they were not going to be in this movie enough.
Yeah.
But I did like the amount we saw with Peter Quill.
Mhm.
I really enjoy Chris Pratt performance there, and I really like
Yeah.
the relationship there.
Yeah. I liked seeing Peter as more of like a more mature, like confident leader.
Yeah,
I thought that was good. I don't know. I really liked the opening sequence. That was like a good level of campy for me.
yeah,
Um,
yes,
and then it kind of got off the rails. But, or yeah, like them fighting the like Muppet looking owl monsters.
yeah,
It was just fun. It was just a
yeah,
fun
yeah,
like scene.
yeah.
And then
Yeah, and then when we get to the like, oh, I'm sorry to break your temple. I was like, no, no, why you're mentioning it like that? I was like, really?
yeah, that
Yeah,
was like the sign of things to come. But
yeah.
yeah, the
Um,
actual like fight scene and all the stuff with the Guardians, that was good.
okay. The goats. I we haven't mentioned that.
Yeah.
What's your
Uh,
opinion about the goats?
they didn't annoy me, but they stopped being funny at a certain point, but they never flipped over to being like annoying for me at
Yeah,
least. I could see
yeah,
why they would be for other people.
yeah. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. I love like it was very funny when they crash into the shadow realm, and then the goats scream
Mm-hmm.
that was funny. um and then oh my god, and this is where like I was very disappointed with Sif. Like
Yeah,
I
at least they didn't kill her. Like Taika seems to really hate Thor's supporting cast, so I was glad that they let her live again.
Yeah, well, thank goodness she has her fans, and we're saying
Yeah,
no, don't kill her.
yeah,
um yeah, like I mean her joking about like, oh, I'm going to Valhalla, and then I mean, oh, it was a funny scene for me. Like I actually laugh out loud at this. Like like, oh, you had to die like heroically in the battle, and
mm-hmm.
you just lost your arm, and she said the S word. Like it was
Yeah,
fun. But yeah, I was very disappointed, and like she had the comic book actor costume from the comics, and I was
mm-hmm.
like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's
No.
just,
I think my ideal Thor 5 would be Thor, Sif, and Valkyrie
mhm.
fighting Hercules and a few other like Greek
Yeah,
heroes. Yeah.
mm, that could be awesome. Oh god. I yeah, or just put Sif in another franchise. Like
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to see her either like maybe like put her as a side character for Eternals, because it's weird that we haven't yet introduced Beta Ray Bill in this franchise, and like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe we should like introduce him in another franchise. Uh,
Yeah.
so or Guardians. I think she would go with Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like James Gunn wouldn't want to use Beta Ray Bill, but
yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Um, yeah, yeah. I think I think we covered everything. I will say Thor: Love and Thunder is very. I think a slow tier for me. I think
Yeah.
is. I mean, I'll put this above the first Thor. I'll definitely put it as second highest. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm like tossing up like either to do that or like I'll put it as my third favorite Thor film, and then the
Yeah.
second is the first, and then first my favorite Thor film is the third.
That's my ranking.
Okay.
But I know that I have like a particular soft spot for the first Thor movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I enjoyed the first one more than this.
Yeah.
And then this,
Just
yeah, this was better than The Dark World.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean,
not,
yeah.
I don't know, not by that much for me though.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like okay, like oh, I mean this doesn't have Loki, but
Right.
Thor: The
Yeah.
Dark World has Loki, and it's like I mean surprisingly I didn't miss Loki, so I was
Yeah. No, it is good that it didn't feel like he was missing.
yeah
It just felt like it still felt like a Thor movie even without him.
yeah. I did appreciate the tattoo he had with
Mm-hmm.
Loki and mine.
Yeah.
I did like that. Yeah, it's yeah it's tough ranking for these four Thor films. It's so man, it's crazy. And in terms of favorite movies of this Phase Four, I I definitely Shang-Chi, and then I'll put Black Widow second, and then third Strange, and then I'll put Eternals fourth, and then I put this fifth, and then last will be No Way Home, I guess. So, I put No Way Home fourth, and then fifth Eternals. This would be sixth.
Okay.
So this would be dead last, I would say.
Okay.
So,
I think I liked this more than I liked Eternals or Black Widow.
okay. Yeah.
But like, yeah, not by much.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just like.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It was more fun to watch this than it was to watch Eternals and Black Widow.
Yeah.
I think it was just as messy as Black Widow. And Multiverse of Menace is at the bottom for me.
Okay. I mean, I at least like I think like that movie didn't do characters assassins like this movie did. Like in TV you have this character assassination like of your favorite character after.
I mean, it did that to Wanda for me.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. I disagree with your creative decisions. Like it's like that. I don't know. I think it's because Elizabeth also performance like overrides
her performance is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I like it. Could have if they just. It's the same thing as with this movie. Like I like all of the story beats. It's just the execution was really bad. And it was like atrocious in Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like I could have loved that storyline for Wanda, but they really just fell on their face. They really butchered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I think that this despite me not liking Wanda turning to the villain, I just like we spent time with the villain in the film where Gorr the God Butcher, we don't do that. And
yeah, we did a little bit. Like I think the only thing that was missing from Gorr was like seeing him actually kill more gods.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, they weren't like violent. It's just weird. They cut this like gold blood and or like this like
I
very
liked that. I really liked the opening,
yeah.
but we needed more scenes like that to like show that he was actually a threat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. It's just yeah. And then the reason I put this in the bottom for me is like at least like for me, I appreciate its message of love and thunder, like all that, but like I feel like sometimes it doesn't focus on that enough
Mm-hmm.
in the film, and where stuff like Eternals, like despite how boring and dull you
Yeah,
guys think of it,
no,
and you think of it,
Eternals. Yeah, Eternals from like a filmmaking perspective and a storytelling perspective,
yeah,
leagues ahead of this movie.
yeah, well,
But it's just so boring.
yeah, and
Whereas
that's
this one was like fun. Like it felt like a yeah.
yeah,
It felt it was like fun but kind of like empty.
yeah,
Whereas Eternals was like very full but very boring.
yeah, yeah, and speaking of production value, like cool boy, this like looked very shaky in terms of CGI, and like James' helmet and doors was very weird.
Mm.
Like like and they used the was it the volume that was created by
Mm-hmm.
the Mandal
Yeah.
I don't know what's like I get you're doing the color restrictions, but like I just think this is just like what is going on here? It's just so bad.
Yeah.
I just yeah. Um yeah, yeah, so I think we covered everything well, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, I think covered everything. I mean, I guess one thing we'll wrap right now is the Thor has a child. I mean, he's going to take care of Love.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do appreciate that we got the titles in the end and like it's Love and Thunder. I appreciate that. I like that. I'm curious where we're gonna do with the child and all that, and Thor being a father, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll see.
Are you with that idea, Will?
I could see it being good. Like again, like I really liked seeing Thor interact with the children.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's like his character really shines when he's like trying to be like an inspiration to the children. So I think it could be good, and it could also teach the character like more about like maturity and stuff, and responsibility.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And I was shocked to see Thor return. Um, I mean, we did set up Hercules, but like I'm
Mm-hmm.
like I mean he's so far the really the OG original Avengers from Phase One still going.
Yeah,
It's
and then
crazy.
well, Hulk's still around.
Oh. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but a different
Yeah,
person. It's weird. Anyway,
yeah.
yeah,
Hawkeye could still show up somewhere,
yeah,
I suppose.
yeah. But yeah, very awkward. Well, yeah. Well, Will, was a fun podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
And of course, next week we have San Diego Comic Con. So our next podcast will be that. And then I think after that we should do like a podcast on Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think
Okay.
could be awesome. So we plan for that because our next show we're going to discuss is She-Hulk, and that is coming out in August 17th. So so we got plenty to wait to discuss other Marvel things. So that's good. So but thank you everyone for listening to this podcast. Me and we'll be back for next week for the San Diego Marvel news related things, and hopefully it'll be exciting, like just like 2019, 3 years ago. So just watch out for these new podcasts for Miss Marvel episode 6 and Thor: Love and Thunder spoiler podcast later this week. Have a good weekend, everyone.